That's where the water line was years and years ago.
Okay.
So when they mined it, they'd go from that white line on down, that was chalk, that's what they mined out of here. All through the mine, there's little bitty holes, they're little sea creatures called diamondites or diamondons. And as the water receded down, they died, of course, that's what more or less formed the chalk. All these burrows in here, that's, looks wet, it's dry to the touch, but those are all fossilized animals that were in here. We don't have any feathers or bones in here. They said over a period of years, the chalk absorbs that. So we don't, all we have is the burrows of different animals that were in here. Now we'll go a little farther. There's more burrows all through the whole mine.
Looks like there's a head there.
All these were all from animals that were in here. This over here, we have two geologists from New Mexico come in. And they said animals back then were a lot larger than what we have today.
Yeah.
This resembles a rabbit here, but I'm sure it was an animal of some sort rather than a rabbit. But up above we've got jellyfish. This is all seawater. As you can see the little tentacles in there. But that's probably the best one. We've got jellyfish all over here, but that's probably the best one we've got. So you can see.
What's back there?
Where's that?
Right there.
Oh, that's just part of the mine. We'll come around through that one.
Don't ask certain questions, man.
This
Wanna
one
know.
here is when the state had it for a few years. It was open to the public 24 hours a day. The kids were coming in day and night doing a lot of graffiti and damage to the mine. So the state decided to sell it. So they sold it to the Chalk Hills Association, so it's privately owned now. This is what they call a room and pillar mine. This is the pillar. When they cut it out, that was the room. This is the only one in North America that you could walk into. All the others are mined from the top down because it's more economical. This was the old primitive way to do it.
That tree's growing down here one time.
This is over here, that piece over here. They put this screen up and they put this little framework up. They've got an instrument they put in that hole and they can count how many bats go in and out. Their eastern bats are only about 3 inches long, they're brown, and they don't know why they're so far west. But I asked him, I know they come in to check for that white nose syndrome, and I asked him, well, how do they catch them? He says, they'll take them out to see them just like grapes. They'll inspect them, and if they pass the test, they put a little ring on their leg and then release them. So we'll probably see some bats as we go down.
That's cool.
All these wet spots, they're looks wet, those are all right to the texture, they're all fossilized animals.
There's the green
All
light.
this paint here,
That's
was
not a
when the
graffiti.
kids had it, 24 hours a day. They come in and did a lot of graffiti, we had to chip a lot of that off.
Kids these days.
So we'll go down a little farther.
If they'd been scouts, probably wouldn't have done that.
Well, here's an example. We got little kids too, and the kids did all this graffiti, just the blade.
Of late?
Yeah, and we found some names, some first names, but no last names. But there was graffiti put back in here. But anyway,
How did they get in here?
they broke through the gate where I was showing you where that's that street. They broke in through there, but they didn't put their last names, they put their first names, but they put 2016, so we figured they were seniors in school that did it. There you can see that white line that goes all the way through. This dirt here is when the state had it again. They blocked it shut, they didn't think anything was ever gonna mount to this place. So they blocked it with dirt and then they go turn around and sold it. You know, go a little farther. This over here is a fossilized deer. You can see the head, the front leg, the back leg, without the bright light on it. You can see the darkness of it in there, that's fossilized into the chalk. Everybody gets to see that one.
How did deer get down there?
This over here is a sand dollar, of course this is all seawater. I'll show you a cluster later on that almost looks perfect, almost like it's done by a machine. But it's real smooth on the outside, but yet the imprint is on the inside from the sand dollar. Oh, a little farther. This one over here is how they used to mine it.
What if they had taller miners and then they did mining gold in the 1800s?
And people here must have been short years. They used to have the whole model. An old model in this wheelbarrow, and they used one in chunks like this. And that's what they hauled down by the railroad tracks to that corn crib to let it dry for a couple of weeks before they sent it to Omaha. The dust or the powder from the chalk, they call that emissions earth. My son's got some buffalo, and he'll put it out in the pasture. And I don't know if the buffalo smell it or what, but they'll run to it and they'll roll at it like keep bugs off. But there's about 100 different uses for it. They use it for chicken feed, pig feed, whitewash for paint. They used it for filters on swimming pools. They even used that for dumb bombs in World War II to see how the bombs would spread. On this side is the original equipment those guys used. They use that brace and bit. They'd drill a hole, piece of catalog paper, black powder, and a fuse. They'd light it. They'd run around the corner. It'd blow, and then they couldn't do anything till the next day on account of dust. Anything that fell to the fork of that blade, they didn't want anything smaller than that.
Were there any diseases that came out of inhaling all the chalk when they did that?
Nothing, no. But they mined it for 20 years, and they said with the equipment they got now, they could do all this in 6 months. There's 6,000 feet of tunnel in here, that's over a mile. But the state's got a lot of them blocked off where they can't go through all of it. But those three guys who worked for $1.75 a day, and then they had to split it 3 ways. So they didn't make much money off of it. That's
I'm not saying so, just how long it takes
I go back
the
better.
old timey miners get anywhere.
this over here, there's more of jellyfish.
Well, this was all solid
Above,
rock.
there's an animal that laid on its back. You can see the head and the legs. That's-
You're blocking the light, Landon.
I did, watch out, you know. That was you blocking the light.
Well, it sounds like some of these mining kind of a
What was
little bit
that?
easier than the old
Oh,
mining.
yeah, the rock's a little softer, I'm sure.
Hey, what was it?
They'll have it here when the state had it again. They, you can see the old primitive wood and the mold on the wood and everything. But, you can see a little daylight here, but on the outside you can't see in on account of vegetation. But they really left a mess. The guys really have a lot to do to clean it up before they can even have first. But they just piled it off to the side, dirt. It works. This over here, we got a fossilized bird. You can see the head and the wing, the body part, and more jellyfish, of course. And on this side, there's so many different burrows. I don't think they really told us all what literature we've got. I'm sure there's a lot of different animals that we didn't know about. Everybody thinks this was a turtle. I'm sure it was an animal of some sort. There's whole jellyfish, you can pick those out. But the others, it's hard to tell. The Haunted Hollow, there's a spook house, they had that in here for a few years, about a lot of scholarships. The state fire marshal shut them down because they had a sprinkler system in here. You can see the water on the conduit, not so much because the humidity isn't that high, but there's even on the floor where it's wet. Now they have to have it on the outside, they can't have it inside anymore.
So no more haunted houses ever then, huh?
Just in the outside, that's all that we have.
Why do we get a car down here?
There's one entrance over here. This over here, it's, doesn't have a motor in it, it's just a trunk of a car. For Halloween, I was given a tour, and one of the guys says, I remember that car, he says, I hid in the trunk. So the trunk would fly up, and there was a body in there, that was one of the things that we had for a haunted house, spook house. Cool. On this side over here, we got another bat box. Where they have the house. This bridge over here, that was used for Halloween also. They told the people they was going down in the shaft like 50, 60 feet. What they had was a floor jack underneath there. When they let the jack down, made you feel like you went down, because you didn't. It was one of the scary things they had here. This over here is one of the larger rooms of the mine. They call this the ballroom. A lot of history behind this one. This one here, where they lock those entrances shut, there's 2 of them. That one there, where all the dirt is, they used to drive their cars partway in here with their headlights on. They had picnic tables and they had bands, they played music in here.
When?
That's why they call it the ballroom. There again, you can see the white water line that goes all the way through, all those animals, all the ones across like.
Nah, pole creatures.
Up above, where's you got that? You must have taken out, you got it that in there, yeah, right there. That's all of it. They look like a little walnut.
Can I grab it?
No.
I was kidding.
What are those?
Bad.
Oh, bats. I thought they were.
Oh, that is really small.
Yeah. They look like a little walnut, that's what they look like.
Take it home.
Feed it to Butch.
Mr. Robinson wants to touch it. No.
No, thank you.
Mom's gonna run after her when she sees that.
As long as it's big when it flies.
One lady, she hated bats, and her husband got behind her and ruffled up her hair, she was gone.
She was gone.
That's fine.
Yeah. This over here where this entrance or exit is here, to the other end, that's over the length of the football field, that's over 100 yards back there. In the 60s, before they put these supports in here, they had motorcycle races. They'd go clear back where that light is and come back on time trials. All they had was a headlight on their motorcycle, and we just got some more names yesterday.
Wow.
Guys that did it, but the gas fumes and the dust would have been terrific.
Yeah. That would have, especially in the 60s.
It's been loud too.
I know. That important pipes up here.
Oh, no.
From like, this right here, you can see where the water line goes, more of the burrows for different animals. And that goes clear back in there. This next one will show you this clear back. This on this side, the state had it. They, all these timbers, I don't think they ever used hardly any of them. There's some real old graffiti, I don't know how many years old that would be. But there again, where the sun doesn't hit it, that doesn't fade away that much. The high humidity is a main thing in there. This one over here is the one that you can see down. You see how far back it goes. That's all set out all the way.
Yeah, races, and this would be my porch.
Yeah.
I turn this into my deck.
Oh, look, mushrooms.
Those geologists told us that these were giant earthworms.
That's how big they get.
Got a lot of those through the mine, a lot of bigger ones.
It's amazing.
I want to see one of those.
I would eat one of those.
Worms that big? How big a fish do you think you can catch at that?
Worms back here is how the thing was water with dirt.
Yeah.
They didn't want you to go to the place to put dirt in there and then another place to throw all their excess stuff to clear off the side. This over here, those geologists told us that this was just black in the chalk here, that was high heat that caused that. And that was from that volcano in Idaho blew. And that's what covered up the animals at Ash Falls. Here, their chalk absorbs the bones and feathers, where at Ash Falls that was covered, where they're digging it up. So that's the difference between the two. But you can see how the slopes, they just left it there. They did not even know part of it. Yeah, that's it. This over here is the center of the hill. It's 120 feet to the top.
Wow.
Clear back there, you can see the graffiti on the walls, clear back there. That's all cut out on both sides all the way. A little over 3 years ago, we went to replace that ball back there. We went back there and it's so dark. It was so dark back there. What was that, Pat?
Yeah, I saw it flying.
Anyway, when it's so dark out there, you lose your sense of direction. I was glad to get out of it because it's kind of spooky back there. But there
I don't
again,
blame ya.
that's all.
Any miners lose their lives in this place?
Pardon?
Any miners lose their life in this place?
No, not that I know of. Wow. It was pretty lucky that part of it. Oh, yeah, but he's in this bag.
Yeah, gold miner, he'd die out there third day.
There was one lady, she says, tell me, she says, how do you bag that salt? I says, this isn't salt, I said, it's chalk. Oh.
Yeah. She wasn't tasting it first, was she?
That kind of,
That's all
that's
pure. That's all
pure, right out of the mine, not refined.
There's a hole in the wall.
Here's the other side of that hole. Here's one of those giant worms. They talked